As a part of the series of guidance and counseling that can be given to the student, one of these aspects is what exactly civil servants are required. What exactly is it that the UPSC wants to see in the civil servants? Now, one of those qualities is comprising of intelligence, sincerity, values, and wisdom. Now, all of them are combined largely because it's difficult to separate all of them. Now, this is what exactly UPSC requires from a candidate to possess. Intelligence basically means that an intelligent person is in a position to understand his or her surroundings. An intelligent person goes on to be having a higher degree of observation. An intelligent person is likely to analyze things in a better manner, and unless the person happens to be intelligent, how is it that we can go on to think of imparting an administrative service to the people? So that is what intelligence means. The reflection of intelligence comes in the form of one of them is going to be curiosity. Any person who is going to be intelligent is bound to be curious, because it is this curiosity that will go on to help him ask a lot of questions. And these questions can be asking to himself, not exactly asking to the people. If curiosity is absent, then the person is likely to follow some of these type of suits and some of these type of hearsays that may be prevalent in the market. Now, curiosity in this case doesn't go on to mean doubt. If you are having a doubt, and even better still, we can go on to say suspicion, then there is no way that you can go on to impart administration to the department assigned, to the district assigned to you, largely because both of them go on to be having a negative connotation. Curiosity is the right word, that is, you are naturally going to be curious. When you meet a person, when you talk to a person, when you interact with it, when you go on to a new surrounding, then just taking a look at it, you can go on to know that. That means you are likely and naturally go on to be having a very good sense of observation. Observation means you do not go on to learn always by talking to the people in that place. Or maybe that you have been to a new place, and this is the place where you have to plan something, you have to organize certain type of an event. Now your observation has to be enough in this case so that you can go to learn a lot of things out of it in this case. Because it's possible that you may go to talk to people in that region. The more the number of people that you're going to talk to, the more you are getting to get confused, largely because none of these people will be able to tell you certain things based on objectivity. They will going to be able to tell you on the basis of their perception. So when you have a curiosity, when you have a sense of observation, you are bound to be a learner. And when we say that you are bound to be a learner, meaning that you can go on to learn from a variety of type of situations. And how is it that you can go on to learn, and how many ways you can go on to learn? You can go on to learn in that place merely by observing, by moving your eyes here and there, moving on the road. If you go on to find that the government has done a lot of things for a region, for a district, or for a place, and you are moving into that place and you go on to find good number of potholes, then you must go on to learn through your observation that the roads have not been constructed in the best possible manner. And why is it that the roads may not have been constructed? Now you can go on to start analyzing it and correlating it. Analysis must go on to follow that part. And analysis can go on to be, first, of course, you have to speculate that part. That is, you must go on to have an ability to analyze facts and correlate 2 or 3 events. That there must have been a person who is going to be a member of legislative assembly who belongs to this place. It's a possibility that the chieftain in that place happens to be a goon in that region. It's a possibility that there may have been rainfall. It's a possibility that there may have been certain type of an earthquake. It's a possibility that the base of the road may not have been prepared correctly. Now, so many of these variables must go on to cross your mind. If these variables do not go to cross your mind, then The problem is you will always going to come to a wrong conclusion. So ability to analyze facts and correlate two or three events in order to come to a particular conclusion is always going to be the first part which reflects your intelligence. Second is your sincerity. Now, we're going to let you know that is sincerities and values, both of them, but we're going to separate it out in this place. Sincerity, that is how much amount of a sense of responsibility you're going to be having. When you're going to be talking about a sense of responsibility, you will going to have this sense of responsibility based on empathy for the people, empathy for the work, empathy for the region, empathy for the country, empathy for the surroundings and even animals as well, if you happen to be manning that department. Sincerity also goes on to talk about your work ethics. That is, whether you have imbibed this work ethics or not, or whether you go on to show this work ethics or not. Now, if these two things are missing, of course, you will have to acquire these qualities. But to begin with, first, this is what exactly UPSC looks for. And where exactly it will be available in you? First is that we're going to have a sense of responsibility. Sense of responsibility, that means no one asks you to take a responsibility forcibly. You only going to take a responsibility, not forcibly, but take it because you like to take responsibilities. And you like to take responsibility largely because you have certain traits in your personality that allows you to take these type of responsibilities. And taking such a responsibility is one of the qualities of leadership. Leadership means that means you can take this sense of responsibility, finish it. That means you're going to become a finisher of this work that you have picked it up and then go to move it ahead. And why is it that one of these forms of leadership will go on to be taking this sense of responsibility, and anything that you have picked it up, you're going to take it to the finished part? It's only because you will going to have a high degree of self-esteem. Any person who has a high degree of self-esteem is always going to be good for administration. And you know where exactly is it that these things are going to get reflected? It gets reflected in your ethics paper. It gets reflected in your essay paper. It gets reflected in your interview. And all of these three are going to be correlative. The interviewer can always go to check, and you can be given abstract essays through which it can be checked. And also you can go on to be checked by ethics and integrity, by some case studies, whether you go on to be possessing the quality of a finisher or not, whether you like this sense of responsibility or not. Now, leadership is going to be about having different type of meanings. In this case, you initiate that process, whether you are in a position to initiate any process in this case or not. That is part of it. That's the second part associated with it. We are talking about values and wisdom in this case. Now, values go on to refer to how is it that you go on to do a work, in what manner, and thinking of what exactly that you can go on to do a work, how is it that you're going to finish it, and how many other variables that you go on to incorporate while trying to do that work. Do you going to think about the people or not? Let's say you have come to a task, or you have taken an assignment of establishment of a factory in that region. Now, your values will go on to mean that you will go on to think about the people in that region, the animals in that region, the plants in that place, the water bodies in that region. This is what you will go on to think of. Now, your values go on to get itself reflected in your honesty. Honesty means whether you're going to consider country first or you first. That's one. It is always going to be reflecting yourself in certain things like what are the forms of corruption that you can go on to follow if you go on to follow some of these type of corruptions. And how is it that you can go on to weave your honesty with practicability? That is it that country comes first to you? Is it that you're honest? And if it is going to be honest, is it going to be you are honest to such an extreme that you leave practicality to the winds? Now, when you go on to be talking about honesty and practicability, how is it that you go on to weave it? I'm going to give an example. In France, Intelligence is something that is not as much revered as sincerities and values are, because an intelligent person can go on to have a degree. An intelligent person can go on to have some amount of knowledge. An intelligent person can go to know about certain things. But an intelligent person is also likely to use the information that one has obtained, the degree one has obtained, or maybe someone has stopped the examination and he or she will go on to use this for the purpose of being in terrorist activity as well. That's a distinct possibility. It goes on to become a distinct possibility in this case. So, in France, the one thing that is always going to be revered is going to be sincerity and values. And these sincerities and values don't going to come from coaching classes. Sincerities and values are imbibed by people who are egoless. People for whom popularity is not going to be that bigger a brand as respectability is. You will come across a good number of aspirants who are going to qualify in the examination, and as they are going to qualify in the examination, they become completely mesmerized by the popularity that they're going to get, and in terms of popularity, they start doing a lot of things. You may have come across those type of people. A same student will go on to endorse maybe some 12, 13, 14, 15 institutes as well. Of course, why is it that they're going to do that? You know it better. Now, respectability comes by seeking a certain degree of a very high self-esteem in you, and when we're going to be seeking a respectability, not popularity, that goes on to show that you are really very value loaded. You can always go on to think that there can be actors who can be very cheap. There can be actors who are very, very decent, who are very, very elegant. The same work can be done through popularity, and the same thing can be done with respectability. Respectability is also about realization and ability to accept mistakes. Only people who are respectable can go on to do that. People who are not popular, who go on to go for popularity, they don't do it. And absence of a blame attitude. Absence of a blame attitude means, to just go on to give you an example, you will go on to find an umpteen number of people now in India which goes on to be having a highest per capita opinion per unit of land. That is, Prime Minister doesn't go to know anything at all. He doesn't know economics. He doesn't know how to run the country. He doesn't know how to govern the country. He doesn't know to make a policy. This is a blame. This is actually a language of blame. You will go on to observe that there are going to be a good number of people on TV debates who also going to do the same thing. They're going to blame. That is, you are the one who had done that. Now prove that you are not a thief. Now that goes on to become blame. When you have values, you will go on to see, I perceive that this is what you are saying. Is it correct? You will go on to seek an opinion from that other person whether whatever opinion that you have made is correct or not. And if not, you will go on to demolish it with the help of logic, not exactly by a abusive language in this case, or a language that is going to be a blame-lit language. And values are always going to be imbibed because of upbringing. There is nothing that can go on to help you have these values by anything else. Upbringing means it can be your parents, it may be a 3-month of your sojourn with your teacher as well, in an institute as well. This is how you're going to be imbibing values. And wisdom. Lastly, any person who is going to be having a wisdom is a knowledge seeker. As the saying goes, when knowledge speaks, wisdom listens. So, a wise person is always going to be the best of the listeners. He understands people. He understands the needs of the people. He has the position to, and he has the ability to judge situations as well. Moreover, he is a person who does not go on to fall into tricky situations. You will go on to find that sometimes a chief minister goes on to fire a district magistrate. Why is it that they're going to do it? Because they may not have done any work possible. Most often, this is what exactly is the case. Second is, they have fallen themselves into a tricky situation. We're going to give you one example. Just some time back, the Noida DM was almost sacked by the Chief Minister of Uttar Pradesh because he was given a lot of instructions, do this in the light of COVID-19, and that he was not able to do that, and the number of cases in people affected by corona went into shoot to 40 and so on. Now, it has been a tricky situation that the district magistrate may have allowed himself to fall into. Now, wisdom is best reflected in your ability to invest thinking into a problem. That is, when you have a problem, you can go on to see this problem in a very isolated manner, or you can go to invest your thinking into that problem. When you're going to invest your thinking, when you're going to invest your thinking into the country, you are always going to be good. It's not that you're going to just take a knee-jerk reaction, a knee-jerk decision on that basis. Other is balance of perception. When we're going to be talking about a balance of perception, we mean whether you have been able to judge a situation or not. For example, take the case of even some people, some religious group of people who happen to be holding people. Now there are going to be two words that have been used. There have been some places where the people have been trapped because there has been an abrupt announcement by the Prime Minister that no movement has to take place. In some places, there have been some people who have been asked to remain, not they have been trapped. There are some people who have been asked to remain so that they can go to spread this virus as well. That is balance of perception. You are able to understand the meaning of these words and you are able to use these words as well. And it is this differentiation that makes you wise. And of course, wisdom also goes on to mean that you are flexible. You are able to adjust yourself to the surrounding because you are strong. Imagine, it is not the best species that survive, it is the most adaptable species that go on to survive. So flexibility is the hallmark. Now someone may go on to think that if you're flexible, it is possible that you don't going to be having a stance. Now you can go to have a stance, but then the moment you're going to get a different variables, why you can't go on to imagine that, well, my stance was not going to be so correct. With the help of this new information, it is always going to be better. So intelligence, other is values, wisdom, and then we happen to be talking about sincerity. Intelligence, sincerity, values, and wisdom. They happen to be one of those characteristics that civil services examination looks for you, and how is it that it goes on to get reflected in you.